All right, what's up, everybody? It is Callings and Careers. We're back for another week. Man, it feels like it's been like 30 months.
I know.
Our time goes by so fast when we're on here, but it
Absolutely.
seems so long when we're not on here. I don't know, Jessica, we might have like some people have probably been like, okay, when are y'all going to start doing this every week? And like, I don't know. Yee.
But if you're like that, if you're one of those people who like, we need this every week, I suggest you like take it when we're not together and like ask yourself, are you doing what we talked about? Like
That's
you got
good.
some time to get that homework done. We're giving you 2 weeks. Most teachers don't give you that long. So you've got 2 weeks to kind of dive in deep,
Yeah.
with what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Callings and Careers, everybody. I am Christopher J. Harris, and that is
Jessica Canty.
And together we are co-hosting Callings and Careers. It's Christ-centered career coaching conversations, a bi-monthly discussion on how to discover your calling and level up in your career. And we are committed to helping individuals not have to turn their faith off just because they are flourishing in their career. And so we're honored to be able to be with you all on whatever platform you're watching this, whether you're watching this live or on demand. We're so honored and so excited to have you with us. I think this is conversation number 7.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is awesome. Absolutely.
Conversation number 7. And so if you are not yet subscribed and you're not yet plugged into the Callings and Careers discussions and podcasts, we'd love to have you join in with us and connect with us on whatever platforms you prefer. And so, Jessica, take a moment really fast and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
First of all, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Jump on in. The water is fine. My name is Jessica Canty. I am your life and career strategist. I have a passion for helping melanin millennial moms who want high achieving careers. That's why I am thrilled to talk all about careers and to make sure you know that you don't have to leave Christ out of your calling. Thrilled to talk about it all.
So good. So good. And Jessica's crushing it. She's killing it, helping people to level up in their careers. And man, I'm thankful to be able to co-host this with you a couple times a month. And so, of course, I'm Christopher J. Harris. You can go check me out there. And then also at diversechurchjobs.com. I am the founder and CEO of diversechurchjobs.com. And we're helping people of color in ministry find ministry opportunities. And so the motive for both of us is really to be able to engage in some very relevant, healthy discussions and dialogue, some challenging dialogues. And let me just say this, we don't have it perfect. We're still figuring things out, but at least we want to bring to the forefront those conversations and raise this. And hopefully this is a tool to kind of make you think and to make you ponder some things. And so let's jump right into it today, Jessica. So I'm sitting there in a meeting like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or so, and I get this text message and it's Jessica. And I'm like, okay, she's probably like, getting ready to texting me about the next show or whatever. But she sends me this video. And so I'm like, okay, I can't watch the video right now because I'm in a meeting. So I get in the car, I'm watching the video. I'm late for a meeting because I'm watching this video. So I text her back and I'm like, is this a thing? She's like, this is a thing. So I start Googling and let me apologize because I bit the bullet and I ended up down a rabbit hole. Everybody this has probably ended up down a rabbit hole. So
that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, man, I'm like 10 articles, 10 videos deep. And I'm like, this is a thing. What is this? We're talking about this whole idea of quiet quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all know what that was? Have y'all ever heard of that? It's a thing. Quiet quitting is a thing, y'all. And all right, so we're going to jump into it. We're going to talk about it a little bit today. And this is probably, we're going to say on the front end, a multi-part conversation. So we're probably not going to be able to exhaust and cover everything today. So, all right, Jessica, come on, tell everybody what is quiet quitting.
So It's actually a misnomer to call it quiet quitting. So most people will think, oh, that's what I'm gonna do when I leave one job for another job. But that's not really what quiet quitting is. I
Mm,
like to think of quiet quitting as being a historical practice in the career space. I think it's being even more highlighted because of the Great Resignation. So what quiet
mm,
quitting is where people are staying in jobs and they're doing the bare minimum to keep their employment, to keep, to meet whatever to-do list on their job. But they're really not enthusiastic about the work. There's no
yeah,
passion in the work. There's no really commitment to the overall goal. I'm a work from 9 to 5, 5 o'clock. I'm already closing my computer. I think it's unfortunate that it's being highlighted now, I guess you can say, because of the Great Resignation, like I was mentioning earlier, a lot of people are leaving the workforce, and it really impacts the people who are staying around. So the people who are
mm,
sticking around rather than quitting or transferring to a different profession or different department, it's really impacting those who are sticking around. So you see, the Great Resignation really put a lot of strain, if you will, on those who decided to stay. So when people left, workloads got stronger for those who stayed. So some people are like, you know what? Y'all don't pay me enough. You didn't decide to hire more people, but you want me to do the job of 3 people. So what they do is quiet quitting. They've given
mm.
up on their job. Yes, it looks like they're there. They're physically in their seat, but they're not mentally present. They're tapped out emotionally. They're going through the motions. And unfortunately, that's the whole concept behind quiet quitting. And as Christopher alluded to earlier, this may be a multi-part conversation because there's some dangers in quiet quitting, and a lot of people want to know, well, now that I know the concept, and I think it might be me, but we're going to talk about today, we're going to let you know if it's you that's quiet quitting, but what do I do about it beyond that? So we're here to support you through the whole concept of quiet quitting, because it might be you.
Yeah. As you were talking, Jessica, I couldn't help but think about the fact that um, more than anything, it might just be this posture that people need to get to where they at least acknowledge where they are.
Mm,
Um, acknowledge where they are, because I think when you hear this, your immediate response could be, "Oh man, I'm such a bad person if I've been a victim or have fallen prey to this idea of quiet quitting." When the truth
mhm,
is, let's talk about why you're there. Let's get you back fired up. Let's get you back engaged, and then let's re-engage in a way that is sustainable. Um, I don't know what the stats are. We'd have to pull that up, but I mean, it's
mhm,
it's not lost on anybody how many hours we all spend at work doing the work that we do, and
mhm,
that's our primary job, right? That doesn't count those that are wearing multiple hats, multiple jobs, multiple streams of income, et cetera, et cetera. And even with that, I think in our culture today, there's this misnomer that the busier you are, the better you are as a person, and I think that's destructive. We have to have a conversation about that some other time.
mhm, mhm.
But I do think that this is one of those conversations where people really need to do some introspection and really find out, like, okay, where am I at? What do I need to be doing? And what's going on? So we want to give you sort of 3 quick ideas today on callings and careers, 3 signs, warning signs, 3 caution lights if you're dealing with this notion of quiet quitting. So let's jump into it, Jessica. Number 1 is
For first of all, the reason why these are 3 signs is they're internal checks, like you said, because it's not something that's going to be readily obvious to you. It's something that's more covert, rather than being overt, and it's typically not something that people can see externally. So that's the other piece to this, that you've got to do the internal work. So the first sign that you might be quiet quitting is that you hate Monday mornings.
mm, mm,
It might
mm,
already be brewing in you if you absolutely hate Monday mornings. And so here's a moment of transparency. I was in a position where I dreaded Monday mornings. I once worked a position in that way. When Sunday came, my only joy was going to church because I had to get the strength I needed to go to work on Monday.
mm-hmm,
The passion I had for the work had begun to diminish. There's a lot of different reasons why the passion may diminish. We're not here to blame you. It might be the way office works, office politics. It might be a toxic work environment. It may be that you're overworked and underpaid. But if you're finding yourself that you hate Monday mornings, especially if your Monday morning, all you have to do is roll over and pick up your laptop, you're not even like driving into an office, and you hate Monday mornings, I'm sorry, but that's warning sign number one that you hate, that you're either headed to or deeply immersed in quiet quitting.
That's so good. I hadn't even, when we talked about this, I hadn't even thought about the people that just got to roll over and put the professional top on up top, and then they still got the pajamas on the bottom. But there's truth to that too, because a lot of people now are doing the virtual work and being able to work from home. But I think and this conversation, the callings and careers. We're not just focused on the individuals that are having to do 9 to 5 traditional setting. We're also focused on individuals that you've got non-traditional careers, or you may be in ministry. So this notion of Monday morning is really a metaphor in some ways. So for some of you, it's literal that it's Monday morning. In other cases, it could be whatever your Monday is. Yeah. So if you're a minister on here, your Monday could be Sunday morning. Or if you're in the office and your Monday is your Sabbath, and then Tuesday morning is your day in the office, or whatever that may look like. Some pastors I know, actually, they have services on Saturday. So for them, their Monday is Saturday, getting ready for the weekend and ramping up. So y'all give us some flexibility there, so you all understand what we're saying. But the point I think that Jessica's making is, what is your disposition and what is your attitude even before you engage your work? And listen, like Jessica said, we've all been there, right? I think there was even a point in my career journey where thinking about getting ready for work, my body would tense up, right? And not that there were headaches or anything like that, but you could feel the tension. You could feel it, right? And then that tension is there for 7, 8, 9 hours. And then all of a sudden, as you're pulling away, you're like, man, this shouldn't be the case. This is not normal. Like, you should not have to, basically hold your breath for 8 hours and then exhale. And you know what? The two things I want to say really fast, kind of unrelated to each other, but related to this topic. Jessica, I think it's not lost on me that some of this could have something to do with justice conversations, race conversations in the workplace, right? It's been tense the last few years for people. It's been really tense. And, when the murder of George Floyd took place, you really had companies that were trying to figure out what to do, what to say, how to pivot, how to navigate. And that is one thing that even, I think, exacerbated the Great Resignation dynamic as well, because in some cases you had some people that said, wait a minute, I'm not going to work for a company that's not going to value me or those that look like me. So, but here's the other thing I want to mention. I think sometimes we look at the external things. So I just mentioned like the justice conversations. You mentioned toxic work environments and other dynamics. Sometimes it's internal. Sometimes we hate Monday mornings because it's internal. And I think, it's just important. I think part of what you're challenging everybody with this point is, let's figure out why you hate Monday mornings. Let's really figure out why you hate Monday mornings.
Yeah, I think that's why it's such a rich conversation to have, because there's so many perspectives to look at it with, like, why is it? Is it because you're no longer operating in your calling? Has your grace already, I guess you could say, expired for this particular season in that space? But it really is the feeling of dread. If you're feeling dread rather than passion, like you said, regardless if it's a Saturday, Sunday, or a Monday, then there's got to be a shift that happens, because then there's some things dangerous that can happen when you hate Monday mornings, where you feel like you've got to caffeinate yourself and give yourself pep talks to go do the work that you signed up to do, right? You're like, you're the one that signed up to do this work, if you feel like that, and then there's so many memes and things like that on the internet to talk about that, because it is pervasive. And so if you are that person, this is a judgment-free zone. You've got to ask yourself some questions about that, because listen, when it was Sunday evening, I had a family member that would ask me, you ready for work on Monday, and I would give them the side eye. Why are we talking about Monday? I can't even get ready for Monday because I lost the passion for the work. I felt underworked. I felt underpaid and overworked. I didn't see an end or any joy in the work anymore. And so I think that that's really what leads to dread. And then you have to determine what's the next best steps. And that's why I said we really gonna have to help you all out to determine if you are hitting on any of these points. Please know that there is a plan and there is something different that can happen for you.
Yeah, I think even to that point, I mean, our show is called Callings and Careers. So as you were talking, I was trying to say, okay, so what is the solution if a person hates Monday mornings? I mean, I think you have to go back to your why, figure out your why, discover your calling. Right? We didn't call it careers and callings on purpose. It's callings and careers.
Yeah.
So I think you really have to go back and like really evaluate, like, okay, what am I called to do? Remember my why. I was having this conversation with some educators before, within the last like 6 months. And I think sometimes even like, to use the educators as an example, there's a point where, it's either before a break and you've got a long stretch and there's been no break, or it's right after a holiday and now we got to get ramped back up for the next semester or whatever. And they're like, oh God, well, what's the thing that flips the switch? It's remembering why you got into the profession in the first place. So then there's a line of demarcation that's drawn, Jessica, because the individuals that are in education to mark time until they get to their real thing, they can never turn the switch back on. Right. But those that are in it because they actually want to see students' lives better, and they value education, the process of education, all of that, it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, So yeah, that's good. All right. So the first sign that you know that you're quiet quitting is that there's a possibility that you hate Monday mornings. All right. What's number 2?
Sign number 2, TGIF is your motto.
Oh,
TGIF is your motto. Why do we say that? Because, I train courses on motivations. I train courses to leadership about how to motivate their teams. And one of the things we talk about is that the motivation can shift and change for employees. And unfortunately, if you're always living for a Friday, if you're always like, I can't wait to get the payday, that's the only day you find yourself smiling in offices, it doesn't, all is good because I'm getting paid today, then that's a sign that you might be on the verge of quiet quitting, or that's already been a habit of yours because you're not finding joy in any other spaces other than being compensated. Now, don't hear me clearly. Listen, I know I got to pay a light bill. I got to make sure my daughter's education is paid for. So it's a healthy motivator to show up to work for your money. But unfortunately, those who only focus on money won't focus on mission.
Whoa, come on, Jessica, with the mic drop. Come on. I love it.
Yeah, and it's so very true. And again, you've got to do that internal space, because like you were saying about the educators, those who are always think, well, I'm just doing this as a stepping stone, or eventually this is going to change. You'll find yourself in this 20-year pattern where the check is never going to be enough, because the truth is no job can ever compensate you for all that you bring to the work. No job could, because your ingenuity can't be copied. And so if that's the only thing you're looking forward to. And it's like, listen, today is Wednesday, I'm putting my time in and I'm gonna breathe easy on Friday. But you can't work like that, because again, that's where the blind spots come in. That's where you've probably seen the greedy politicians, the greedy celebrities who their only motivation is that paycheck. And we can see how careers have been shifted and changed because of all these homes and dollar signs. Really didn't think about the safety of colleagues, really didn't think about their career trajectory. But if that's the only thing that motivates you, that's the only time you find yourself saying good morning to people and, have a little upbeat in your step is, oh, I'm getting paid today, then you're probably already on that sliding slope into quiet quitting.
Yeah. This is what I'm about to say is probably going to be a hard truth and probably going to feel a little preachy to what you just said. But I don't know that, like, if you're a believer, if you're a person who has accepted the fact that Christ is not just your Lord, but he's the leader of your life, that means that he's the final authority. He sets the agenda, the tone, all that jazz, right? He's your boss. Like your boss is not, I mean, he's your boss, don't get me wrong. But like the person that you really work for, that you have to answer for, like you have to answer to God. As a believer, we have to answer to God about what we do, how we do it, the stewardship of our job, our resources, and whether we like it or not. In many cases, God provided that job to help meet many of our daily needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question becomes, do we quietly quit and slap God in the face for the blessing he's provided?
You might have stepped on some toes with that one.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you know, we have to make a decision about who we're working for and who we're representing and the reputation that we want to have. You know, and I also think, so there's this verse that we often associate with like spiritual warfare, John 10:10. So the thief comes to steal, kill, destroy, right? We've heard that verse many times before. But then Jesus says, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Well, if you read different translations of that verse, like the ESV, the Message translation, one translation says that you might have life to the full till it overflows.
Mm.
And what that says to me is God's not interested in us just marking time Monday through Friday, and then all of a sudden we can live Saturday and Sunday. Like that's not the flourishing that he died for. You know what I'm saying? So then, yeah, so then I got to take a step back. If I'm working on a job where my only model and motto is let me get to Friday, like you mean to tell me that 5 days God wants me to act dead and then come alive for 2? That is not what he sent his son to die for. And so when it comes to our careers, when it comes to how we do our work, I think we really, really have to take a step back and evaluate and really ask, okay, God, how do I get to a place where, here's the other thing. Let me say this really fast. You heard that verse before that says, or that not even a verse. People have said, I'm just waiting for my season. You've heard that before, Jessica?
Yeah. I think maybe that's what we should do, / waiting for your season.
Yeah. So here's the problem with that, Jessica. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is based on Psalm 1, every season is supposed to be the believer's season. So why am I waiting for a season when God says I can flourish in every season? I'm just curious. So I think, yeah, go ahead.
It truly ministers to me because I mean, I lightheartedly say you stepped on some toes, but I think that that's a part of when we talk about solutions too, is reminding ourselves of God's promises. Like, you know, there's other people in the workspace that don't have what we have. We have a blessed assurance in Him, and so if He's giving us this promise, and I'm not seeing it on a Monday morning, I only feel it when there's money in my bank account. First of all, what Lord do you serve? That's a whole nother conversation, though. If the only joy is when you're being compensated. Again, I like to make sure my bills are paid. Let me not be holier than thou. However, you know, it truly ministers to me because it means shift in, you know, my commitment that I can go to the cross and recalibrate and remember that He promised me some things and lean on those promises.
That's so good, man.
Yeah.
That's so good. And there's so much meat in this one statement, right? That if TGIF, thank God it's Friday, is your model and your motto, I think it speaks to even your mindset about the season you're in and the work that you're doing. Because, like, let's just be honest. And there may be some people listening to this right now that are in this space. I know that I've probably been in this space. I'm gonna make the assumption that at some point you've been in this space too, where you're working a job and in your mind, you're like, I'm only going to be here for 2 years and then I'm out, right? Or I'm only going to be here for this amount of time until that thing over there opens up. And what's dangerous about that is if that's your mindset, you never give your all to where you're at. That whole idea of blooming where you're planted. And so then I discovered, Jessica, that like God will not open the next door that is bigger and better if you haven't managed the now. Like He just won't. That's just not how it works. That's not how the principle works. You look at the parable of the talents, and it's like, one got one got two, one got five. And the one that he called wicked was the one who was waiting for the next season without maximizing the current season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to come to grips with that. We have to say, we have to get ourselves to a place where we say, this is not good for me, for my coworkers, for my boss, for the job that I'm on, if I'm not all in and giving my all in this now season.
Absolutely. Especially those who are in jobs where people's lives are going to be altered and changed. Yeah,
Wow.
you really want to check that because it literally is going to impact someone else's life. And so again, this is a lot of internal work. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because everyone else may think, oh, you're awesome and things are going wonderfully. I love the way you might be getting, all A's on your performance evaluation or all fives, whatever the number is. But only you know if you're truly giving what you're supposed to be giving. Only you know if you are truly motivated for that mission.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I read an article on Harvard Business Review that was talking about the top common reasons for workplace accidents. And I remember one of the reasons, I'm trying to find it now so I don't misquote it, but one of the reasons, and it sounds so very simple, is people are not fully present at work. They're they're working, but they're totally checked out. And so to your point about, when you're working on a job where your work is impacting the lives, the safety, the future direction of other people, and in many cases your own as well. Like that's very, it's very dangerous in a whole lot of ways. So that's so good. Jessica, anything else you want to add to this point here today?
No, but even as we're talking, I'm like, we're going to talk about those dangers and solutions because we don't want to leave you all hanging. But just work on these signs, just kind of look at yourself. Monday will be here before you know it. How are you feeling? Did you only smile this week when you got paid? So I definitely encourage you all, because each of these episodes, I really feel like they're collegiate level courses where you can truly implement the logistics of doing this work. Be sure that you are operating in a calling in your career.
That's so good. So number one is you hate Monday mornings. 3 signs that you're quietly quitting or have quietly quit.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make sure I say that. I don't want my English teacher's not alive anymore. The one that I grew up with, my favorite one is, but I don't want any of my other English majors like, man, he can't talk. All right.
Hear your heart. It's your heart that they're listening for.
Amen. 3 signs that you have quietly quit at work. Yes. Number 1, you hate Monday mornings. Number 2, TGIF is your model and your motto.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's number 3?
That you count the clock.
Ooh.
Yep. That you count the clock. Listen, and again, I'll raise my hand so nobody else has to, but I remember working several jobs where I knew what time I was going to get off, and the countdown had already begun for my shift to be over before I even really had even clocked in. I kept telling myself, okay, 30 more minutes. This is the longest 30 minutes I've ever had. All right, just 5 more minutes. Oh my goodness. Because if I'm watching the clock, how am I watching the work I'm supposed to be doing? Right?
Ooh.
I'm not watching what I'm supposed to, my to-do list, what I'm supposed to be getting done if I'm consistently looking at that clock. Now, listen, I'm a mental health expert, and I understand that our nation is experiencing a mental health crisis because of the pandemic. So hear me very clearly. I know a lot of people quit. Again, the Great Resignation is real because jobs wanted them to consistently work overtime or didn't compensate them for the work that they did put in. So I'm very careful about saying this, but I'm talking to that specific person where, I'm not going to do anything past this time because you really don't care about the work past that time. There's a difference between people who care about it beyond that time and say, I've got to put it down so I can do better when I come back or so I can give it my all. But if you're consistently counting the clock, you're not doing the work for real. And so this might be the poster child, if you will, of quietly quitting. You're the person that's like, I'm gonna keep pulling up this clock to see, how much time I have left, because come 12 o'clock, I'm checking out lunch. I'm not responding to any emails. I'm not doing anything. And then come 5 o'clock, you can't find them. Like it's nothing but a ball of dust where they move their desk because they're more committed to, again, going back to that TGIF Friday, and they're already trying to avoid Monday morning when the first point. But if you find yourself like looking at the minutes, like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. I got 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I got 5 more hours before I get off. You might already be quietly quitting in your spirit. So we're just going to check that internally.
Man, that's so good. So all right. So we believe in being honest on this platform. So out of the 3 warning signs of quietly quitting, this is the one I can't raise my hand on. I've never. So the first 2, yes, I've been guilty of, but this one, I've never been on a job. I've never had a job where I counted the clock, but I have had other situations that I was in where I was trying to count the clock. So Jessica, I'm trying to be consistent with my workouts. Okay, go to the gym. My trainer is good at what he does. All right, he's good at what he does. Y'all pray for your boy. I'm working out good. It's the eating, y'all. It's the calories. I'm trying to get these calories down. Okay, but here's something that's interesting that he did. He challenges everybody. So there are no clocks in his facility. Now he has a watch, right? But he wants you to put your phone away. And now we use, we have the smart watches and stuff like that we have to count, what we're doing and all of that stuff. But he really challenges, don't look at the clock, because what I found was when I first started working out, like, okay, let's just say I go to the gym at 9 a.m. At 9:10, you feel like you worked out for 45 minutes already. And then when you happen to look at your clock and it's 9:10, you realize you only did 10 minutes worth of a workout, but it feel like 45. You're like, oh, I'm done. I'm out. Man, ain't nobody got time for this.
I'm the same way. That's why I have to laugh at it. It's like, it's been 10 minutes. You sure about that? Is that clock working right?
Right. So then I could imagine in my mind, that somebody, they go to work at 8 o'clock and they got an hour lunch at noon. This is very traditional approach here for a second. So it's 8:10 and they're like, man, I still got 4 more hours before lunch.
Listen, I'll break this down because then these are the people who know exactly how long their break should be. Like, no, because of the union, I get 15 minutes. So they're counting down to that 15-minute break. They come back and it's like, I'm not answering any emails. I'm on a 15-minute break. Even though the person's still sitting at their desk, they won't answer any emails, they won't answer any calls. So they're literally breaking it down. Okay, how much time I got to my 15-minute break? How much time do I got to my lunch? How much time do I get to my next 15-minute break? And so again, from the mental health perspective, it builds anxiety. And that's unhealthy for your body if you're consistently watching the clock in that way. I don't know if I can work out at your gym, because now I know for me, like, looking at the clock motivates me. All right, I did 10 minutes. That means I got 50 minutes to go. I've already done a little bit of the battle. Let me, I can push through. Yeah. Unfortunately, most people who are counting the clock, that's not what they're doing it for. But if you feel like you have to give yourself that internal motivation, again, it's a warning sign that you might not be operating in your calling. You might be operating in an environment that's not really feeding your passion. And like you were saying, a lot of times people who are having accidents on the job is because they're not fully present. Yeah. I'm thinking about the laundry I have to do at home, the bills I have to pay, the argument I had with my spouse. If all that's in your mind and you are the person who's the nurse, you could easily stick somebody and they say, ouch. And you're like, what are you talking about? Right. So I use that as an example because it's the same way when you miss an important email. You miss an important email or you're late for an important meeting. It has just the same amount of impact and effect.
Like giving somebody the wrong medication because you counting the clock. Like, oh, that's so dangerous, right? That's so dangerous.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Absolutely.
Yeah. I as you were talking just now, I had this thought and it's not even fully developed, but I wonder for some people if this conversation that we're raising today about quietly quitting at your job, for the people that are guilty of that, I wonder if this is God's way of extending grace to them.
Come on now. Yeah.
Like God allowed for you to hear this today to say, okay, I'm extending grace to you because listen, I've provided this job for you so that you can have your bills paid. It's not your destination, but it is supposed to be the place where you thrive for now. And so I sent Christopher Harris and Jessica Canty for you to say, okay, let me call a timeout. Let me get myself together. Let me get my motives, my heart, my spirit, my mind in the right place. And then let me re-engage. And yeah, I don't know of a situation where God invites us or calls us to a place and doesn't expect us to give our all. I just don't know. I don't know of a context for that where that would be the case. And to be clear, he wants us only like if you're a believer, and we've talked about this before, you have your job description, but you also have your spiritual job description. Mm-hmm. Like there's a reason why you're at that job in this season and in this time. Sometimes that's for something that you're going to offer to the job. Sometimes that's sometimes what the job is going to offer to you. Sometimes it's both. Mm-hmm. And it's important for you to be all in. I mean, I think it's really, really important for you to be all in. So this has been really, really good. Okay, so let's review really fast, Jessica. And this is definitely going to have to be a part 2, maybe even a part 3, because we got to help folks out and make sure that we're providing relevant context for people to figure this out. All right. So first of all, review what is quiet quitting again. Tell everybody what that is.
It's that internal perspective where you're disconnected from your mission and work, and you're not fully present for your passion.
Yeah. That's so good. All right. And so 3 signs we want to give you really fast today that you are quietly quitting. Sign number 1.
You hate Monday mornings. It's a sense of dread.
Hate Monday mornings or whatever your Monday is. All right. Number 2.
TGIF is your model and your motto. You're living for the weekend. The only time you're smiling is when you're getting paid.
Oh, Lord. Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord. So much more we can talk about, and we will talk about with that. And then thirdly and finally,
you're counting the clock. You know what time it's supposed to go to break. You know what time to get off. You know, you're clocking out, shutting down that computer. At 4:59, you're already 1 foot out the door.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. So listen, if this is where you are, I think in addition to taking everything that we've talked about today, I think the homework assignment for you is let's take a step back. Let's get you a notepad, or get you a journal book or something. And let's do a brain dump. Mm-hmm. Let's do a brain dump. Let's do a career detox. Okay. Why are you where you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically? What led you to the place where you're at the border of, or maybe all in on quietly quitting? Mm-hmm. Right. And a part of this is you got to agree that quietly quitting is not God's plan for you. So you got to agree that that's not where God wants you. Okay. All right. So if that's not where God wants you, then what is God's desire, God's plan for you for this season? I think that's a great action step. Something, because some of you that are watching this, you need tell me what to do. That's probably a good next step. I don't know if you would add anything to that, Jessica, or not.
I absolutely would, because when you begin to look at the what's and the whys, it might become overwhelming. And so the clinician in me wants you to know that there's help available to you, both clinically, spiritually, and even with your career executive board. And that might be a part of a little bit more about our solutions conversation. However, if you do the work and you're sitting down and you are maybe spend 1 week on making observations to see if any of these truths are showing up in your work patterns, and then asking yourself what's leading to this, what's the why beneath it, it can be a little bit overwhelming. You might find out some things that you're like, ooh, they made me uncomfortable. I didn't realize it might be me. It might be my boss. I didn't realize that there's help available to you. So 1, you can get help when you come back to Callings and Careers. 2, definitely, if you already have your career executive board, which we kind of talked about in previous episodes, so go listen to that. You can tap into them. And as always, you can always go to your pastor and get that spiritual awareness and guidance as to what your next best steps would look like.
That's so good. So good. All right, listen, everybody, we are wrapping up here today. Jessica, this has been so good. This has been so very, very good. Hey, quick question, Jessica. What have you been reading? What have you been reading?
You know what? It's called The Body Keeps the Score, I think it is.
Oh, hold on.
I can show it to you on my Audible.
I got it here somewhere. Hold on. Oh no, where is it at? Where is it at? Nope. Oh, I know I had that book. Now here we are live, and I can't even find the book.
But that just tells you that we're kindred spirits.
Yeah, the
It's such
body.
a necessary work. And
Yeah, the
even,
body.
it's interesting that I brought up that book when we're talking about this today, about quiet quitting, because your body might be, there it is. There it is. The body keeps the score. It's such a, I'm slowly digesting it because it's so much that I've seen in both my clients, in my own personal life, and those that are around me. It's a great read. For those who are not in the mental health field, I still think it's easily digestible when you're reading it.
370 pages.
That's why I said I'm slowly digesting it.
And it's got,
Yeah.
listen, this book has 60 pages of references. That is not a joke.
It's thorough. It's thorough.
Yeah. So the body keeps the score, brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. So here's a book that I've been reading, Jessica, that I think is really, really powerful. Let me where's it at? It's a very basic book, but I've been really enjoying it. It's black faces in white spaces. They're really good. Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna have to check that out.
yeah, we might have to spend some time on a future episode, just kind of breaking down stuff that we're reading and stuff that we've been gleaning from that. I just picked this one up today.
Road to, ooh.
8 keys to boost employee engagement and well-being.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to get that one because I teach managers often, so I'm definitely gonna have to get that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to read this. I've got Mr. Lopez, Al Lopez, who's the author of this book. He's going to be on my other podcast, The Wise Idea, and so that's going to be a fun discussion. I want to make sure I'm prepared for that.
I'm definitely going to make sure I download that episode.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. All right, Jessica, tell everybody how they can find you, and tell everybody a little bit about your services.
So I support melanin and millennial moms who want high achieving careers. I help them with career path planning, resume and interview refinement, and reputation revitalization. And so I'm thrilled to do that on one-on-one coaching. Just this past weekend, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, actually, I did a course in person, and I'm working on a contract to do some more resume and interviewing skills. So I love doing one-on-one work. I love working in the classroom. So if you are ready to upgrade your career and to make space for your passion to provide for your life, go ahead over to jessicacanty.com. You can follow me on any social media platforms. I'm Jessica Canty. It's Jessica and Canty. The last name it's like candy, but with a T. So jessicacanty.com.
All right, say that again. Melanin millennial moms. Is that what you said?
All of my major identifying markers. Melanin millennial moms. I got some melanin in my skin because of the year I was born. I'm considered a millennial, and I love being a mom. And the way those three intersect, some challenges can come up. So I love helping other people who are just like me.
So we got to find something for the duly dedicated and disciplined dads.
I love it.
we gotta come up with something for the duly dedicated and disciplined. I just came up with that off the top of my head, so it is what it is. No, but salute to all the moms out there that are killing it and crushing it. Salute to my wife; she's killing it, she's crushing it in her space. And it's funny that we even having this discussion today about people that are quietly quitting. At the time of this recording, this is the end of the school year for some of the schools, and man, some of these teachers are like checking out. Do you hear me? Like they're like counting down the days that are left. So yeah, this is a relevant conversation for almost any industry, almost any space. And so if you're just jumping into this on the back end, you can go back and listen to this conversation all the way through at the beginning. And this has been really, really good. So I'm Christopher Harris again, and you can check me out there, ChristopherJHarris.com, on a number of things that we've got going on and that we're working on. And primarily the motive for me doing this and for being involved with this with Jessica is the fact that I'm the founder and CEO of DiverseChurchJobs.com, where we help people of color in ministry find incredible ministry opportunities. And so I'm Christopher Harris. That's Jessica Canty. This is Calling in Careers. Our prayer for you is that you discover your calling and develop in your career. So thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all the next time. Peace.